Hey there, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing really well. What's your name?
Josie.
Josie. I'm Kirk. I'm going to be your student occupational therapist today. We're going to do a few tests. I'll let you know a little bit about how this is going to work. I'm going to do a few tests on you, and we're going to do vision tests, okay? Does that sound all right? And I'm going to tell you a little bit about why you might want to get some of those things corrected. I'm going to tell you about some of the things that we'll be doing in our next session to correct some of those things if we find any deficits. Sound all right?
Yep.
Okay. So let's get started. This is called a map of scraps, and it's going to test some different aspects of your vision. So the first thing is going to be mobility, and we're going to look at how you walk and how your vision acts when you walk. So if you can do something for me, I'm going to be right next to you the entire time. If you could walk from right here, and if you could walk down here and turn around and walk back. Can you do that for me?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. Okay. All right. And walk right back. That's okay. And your seat's right there. So what I noticed with that, and maybe you noticed it as well, do you have any trouble maybe scanning or looking around while you're walking? So if you're having trouble scanning while you're walking, you're going to have trouble with mobility and vision during mobility. So what we're going to do next time I see you is I'm going to line out a strip of tape, and you're going to be walking down that strip of tape. And I'm going to have things placed maybe to the sides of the tape, and I'm going to have you look at those things as you're walking. I'll be right next to you to give you some assistance, make sure you don't fall, and I'm going to be giving you cues when to look out for something. Maybe something's on that strip of tape or right next to it that you need to be looking for. Does that sound good? What that's going to do is make sure you're able to navigate safely wherever you go. Maybe you're in the supermarket or at your own home. Make sure you can look around while you're walking. Sound good? Okay, the next one that we're going to look at is your acuity. So how clearly you can see things. So if you could do something for me, this is your standard test for this. You might get at the doctor, the ophthalmologist. Could you read that for me?
Mobility.
Okay, and how about this print, the smaller print? You can read that?
Creased.
Okay, and how about here? Can you read that? And how about if we get a little bit closer, can you read?
Yeah.
So you don't have any problems with that?
Oh yeah, I have problems.
Oh, you do? So it's kind of hard to read?
Yep.
Okay. So if you're having trouble with that, what we're going to do actually, you might have trouble reading, maybe your pill bottles have really small prints on them. So what I'm going to do is refer you to see an ophthalmologist, and we can find out a solution for you in that area, okay? Sound good?
Yep.
So next what we're going to look at is your pupils, how they react to light. So you know when you go out in a bright room, maybe you look up and you have a different type of vision, right? Or maybe you have trouble going from a dark room to a light room, things like that. It sound like you might have trouble with those?
Yep.
So what we'll do, I'm going to turn this light on here, and I'm going to be looking at how your pupils respond to light. So I'm going to put my hand right here and then shine a light in one eye and see how the other one responds. And we're going to do that twice. Okay?
Okay.
So 3, 2, 1. Okay. And now we're going to do the same side. Is that all right? Okay. And there we go. Okay, great. So one of the things we've got to worry about, if you have trouble with that, is maybe you're going from a bright outside to inside, you have trouble seeing. So what we're going to do for that is I'm going to show you next time we're in treatment together. I'm going to show you a variety of different pictures, and they're going to be different scenarios. One might be a really bright day outside, and one might be kind of a dimly lit room. And I'm going to have you pick out, and we're going to talk together about what you would do to compensate for that, whether you'd wear a hat or sunglasses, something like that, okay?
Okay.
So the next one we're going to talk about, do you ever have anything, maybe double vision, maybe when you're trying to read? Blurred vision, that kind of thing. So one of the reasons we're a little bit worried about that, again, for the medical management, if you're having trouble reading your pill bottles, do you like to read for fun? So that would be something we'd be concerned about, is your ability to read and ability to read instructions, medication, recipes, things like that. So what we're going to do next time I see you, actually, we'll do a quick test for that, and I'm going to have you look at this right here and tell me if you can see it clearly. How many pins do you see?
1.
Okay, and now if you could cover one of your eyes for me, how many pins do you see?
2.
Okay, and same with the other eye, cover the other eye.
1.
Okay, so what we're going to look at, since we know that's something that we can work on, I'm going to have you hold this pin where you can see it the most clearly, okay? You can see it very clearly there? So what we're going to do is figure out how far this distance is, and we're going to note that that's with your right hand, okay? So maybe we can figure something out. I'm going to hold the pen. Can you stretch out maybe one of your arms? Okay. So if you remember, when you stretch your arm out, that if something comes right up above your wrist, you'll be able to see it most clearly there, okay? So that's something you can try out at home. Next, we're going to look at your field of vision. Do you ever, maybe you're reading a book and you can't see a certain corner or a page number at any given time, something like that? Or maybe in a room like this one, you might not be able to see that exit sign over there. Does that sound like something you have trouble with sometimes?
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to do right now is test that field of vision, and I'm going to be bringing this pen into where you can see it. So you won't be able to see the pen at first. I'm going to bring it into your field of vision. You let me know as soon as you can see it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. Look right at me and tell me when you see the pen.
Now.
Now? Okay. And look at me and tell me when you see the pen.
Now.
Okay. So if you're having trouble with that field of vision, what we're going to do is next time in treatment, I'm going to go up on that whiteboard and I'll have marks in each corner of the whiteboard. And what I'm going to have you do is scan that whiteboard and see each number. And then I'm going to have you look at the middle of the whiteboard. And if you can't see any of those numbers, that's going to kind of alert you to where your deficits might be. And we'll work on some compensation strategies for that.
Okay.
Just so you'll have an easier time navigating around, being safe if you do drive.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're driving, that's very important. So next we're going to look at your saccadic eye movements, and that sounds like a big word, but what it means is your ability to look from one thing to another quickly. So what I'm going to do for a little test of that is I've got a black pen in this hand and a red one in this hand. Place them about this far apart, and I'm going to command you to look at one or the other. Can you do that for me?
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. Let's look at the black one, red one, black one again, red one now, black one. Keep looking at the black one and the red one. Okay, so a little bit of difficulty with that. You might have trouble. Driving is a big one. You're driving down the road, you gotta look quickly, left and right, just walking around, normal mobility.
Mm-hmm.
You might have trouble in those areas. What we're gonna do in our next treatment session, I'll have these two pens, I'll be instructing you as we go. I'll increase the distance, I'll decrease the distance, and I'll increase and decrease the speed so we get a little bit of practice with that and alert you to any deficits. Maybe you have a harder time looking to the left quickly than to the right, so we'll figure out where your weaknesses are there. Next, what I want to look at with you, Ms. D'Amico, is how your eyes converge. So any blurriness, maybe if you move things a little bit closer to you, try and read something more clearly and it actually gets blurrier.
Yeah.
Sound about right? So what I'll do with this black pen here, I'll hold it out and then slowly move it in. If you just keep your eyes on it, we'll see how that goes, okay? So focus on the pen, keep looking, keep looking. Okay, so you have a little bit of trouble seeing that as it gets closer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to do for convergence is I'm going to give you a variety of fonts, and we're going to find out what area works best for you to read those fonts. And some things will be easier to see at a distance, and some things will be harder to see with a smaller font. So we're going to figure out what works best for you and figure out how to compensate for that. And next we're going to look at your visual range of motion. So now you can move your arms, your eyes work the same way. So I'm going to have you follow this black pen again, and we'll see what kind of range of motion you have in your eyes and in those muscles, okay? So just follow the pen. Can you see it there?
Mm-hmm.
And keep your head still. Move your eyes. Okay. So you have a little bit of trouble there. So what I'd like to do for that is, again with the blackboard, we're going to mark some things on the blackboard, and I'm going to have you go from one to the other. I'm going to have you keep your head still, but go from one area to another. And just like working a muscle here, you're going to increase that range of motion. So I'll have you go from one letter, maybe 3 feet, and then that letter, and then maybe 10 feet. Sound like something you want to do?
Yep.
And that, for, once again, the same reasons, you might have trouble reading or trouble driving or being mobile, things like that. So next, let's look at your ability to accommodate for things. So I'm going to have a red pen here. Can you see that pen all right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to have a black pen here. So what I'd like for you to do is look at the red pen and then look at the black pen. And now the black pen red.